my opinion, other than fighting Mr. Poizner's blatantly incorrect ads, I think you should ignore him. I mean, Jerry Brown's going to be your opponent. And I think that what's important is to come up with some specifics, real specifics as to what you want to do. Like my question is, for example, will you save Californians a lot of money by privatizing the prison systems, where those folks can then rent the buildings back from the state of California, you pay them a fee, and they handle the prisoners?
Well, first of all, I feel very good about where we are in terms of winning the primary, but we still have 21 days, roughly 18 days actually, to the primary. And in case you don't know, voting has already started. For those of you who get absentee ballots, you probably come to your house. So the race has already started. And I learned a long time ago, you never take your eye off your competition. And I feel very good about where we are, but my job is to get the message out around jobs and spending and education, introduce myself to Californians throughout this state, and make sure we win that primary, because I am the best person to beat Jerry Brown, there is no question about it, but you don't have the opportunity to run against Jerry Brown until you make sure that you get through that primary. With regard to prisons, this is the subject for a lot of conversation, and I'll be very brief on this, but here's the facts. It costs about $50,000 a year to house a prisoner in California, twice the national average. The biggest difference is in health care. On average, it costs about $12,000 per prisoner in California for health care. Of the 170,000 prisoners that we have in California, each one of them on average went to the doctor 3 times a month last year. Did any of you go to the doctor 3 times a month? I mean, something is very wrong here. It costs $6,000 a month for health care in New York for prisoners. Why should it cost double here? So there is lots of work to do here. But we do have a prison overcrowding problem. So the first thing I think we need to do is we need to send prisoners to neighboring states who have capacity in their prisons to take our prisoners. Michigan, Nevada, several others have the capacity to take prisoners. And we've done some of this, we need to do more. But it turns out up until 3 years ago we couldn't do this because you had to ask permission of the prisoners to be moved out of state. But now you don't, that's the good news. So we need to accelerate that. And then I am not adverse to privatizing of prisons. I'd like to start slowly, make sure we understand what we have in front of us. Florida has done some of this, Illinois has done some of this, and New York has done some. So I don't rule it out at all. I think we ought to start and look carefully and see what we think the right thing to do is, and make sure that we're thoughtful about it. Because public safety, in my view, is the #1 issue that the state has to do for our citizens. If people do not feel safe in their homes, in their place of business, in their schools, then we have not done our job. And with regard to this overcrowding, just as an aside, I am not for early release of prisoners into our community to reduce overcrowding, and I am not for changing sentencing guidelines. One of the things we've done well is had a good crime and safety record in California. Let's not undo any of that while we try to solve our prison problem. So,